Pray that the Lord will be with each one of us as we study together in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gayoba, for welcoming us in this program. At this point, we will be hearing a special music to be rendered by Vocile from AIU.
Shut it off, keep out the devil. Shut it off, keep the devil in the night. Shut it off, keep out the devil. Light the candle, everything's alright. Light the candle, everything's alright. Shut the door, keep out the devil. Shut the door, keep the devil in the night. Shut the door, keep out the devil. Light the candle, everything's alright. Light the candle, everything's alright. When I was a baby child, shut the door, keep out the devil. Good and bad was just a game. Shut the door, keep the devil in the night. Many years and many trials. Shut the door, keep out the devil. Prove to me they're not the same. Shut the door, keep the devil in the night. Shut the door, keep out the devil. Shut the door, keep the devil in the night. Shut the door, keep out the devil. Light the candle, everything's alright. Every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't you worry about a thing. About a thing. Every little thing is gonna be alright. Gonna be alright. Don't you worry about a thing. Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. I rise up this morning, I smile with the rising sun. Three little birds pitched on my doorstep. I sing a sweet song of melodies pure and true. Singing. This is my message to shut the door, keep out the devil. Shut the door, keep the devil in the night. Shut the door, keep out the devil. Light the candle, everything's alright. Light the candle, everything's alright. Shut the door, keep out the devil. Shut the door, keep the devil in the night. Shut the door, keep out the devil. Light the candle, everything's alright. Every little thing's gonna be alright. Shut the door.
Thank you very much, Vocile, for that very wonderful music rendition. Isn't it amazing that we can still enjoy the music um, from other places, okay, via Zoom, okay? And it's actually wonderful to have this kind of webinar wherein we could collaborate, the four universities joining together, okay, learning from each other, okay? So before we have our first speaker, I remind again everyone to please make sure that your mics are on mute. And if you have any questions during, like for example, when the speaker is talking about their topic, you can actually type your question via chat, and we will record it. We will choose one from it, and we will be asking it during the question and answer portion. Okay, so our first speaker is Dr. Marvel Ruben Suitono. He is the Dean of the Faculty of Science in Universitas Advent Indonesia in Bandung, Indonesia. Okay, he finished his master's on chemical and process engineering in Germany and obtained his doctorate in pharmacochemistry in the Institute Teknologi Bandung in Indonesia. Today, he will share to us how to approach biotechnology in the new normal. So let us welcome Dr. Marvel Ruben Suitono.
Good morning. Do you see already my presentation slides?
Yes, no.
Dr. Mark? Okay. Good morning, my beloved colleagues and students in the Science of Department from 4 university and also guests from others university. Thank you for the opportunity for me to deliver these presentations. But since very limited time is given to me, I will go rush to my presentation this morning. My presentation topic this morning entitled Biotechnology, an approach to a new normal life. At this time, we are living in the information technology era where everything we do more or less intersect with various elements of IT, which demand lots of equipments. IT era is the third of golden era in science. The sequence of golden era of science and technology is started from agricultural age and goes to mechanization and to information technology. And it will become to nanotechnology and ended at biotechnology era. Along the way from mechanization era to information technology, here you can see mechanization era, this is the golden age, and information technology, we have so-called industry. Right now we are entering industry 4.0, yeah, 4.0, where terms of industry 4.0 is set for the first time in 2011 in Hanover Expo in Germany. So we are having 4 industry era just in between mechanization era and information technology era. So biotechnology itself is divided by 4 groups, which are green biotechnology, which cover field area of agriculture and animal husbandry, including pesticide and pest control products, probiotic products for livestock, and various other products. It is a green biotechnology. And the second one is blue biotechnology. Blue biotechnology works in the area of freshwater and marine or aquatic sector. Since marine is covered around 70% or about 2/3 of Earth's surface, but it is a very little export. It is only 20% that we can visible to us on the surface. The other 80% is just below the surface. This result of this blue biotechnology sector accelerate activities and development of growth process of fish body weight, for example, and such as fish sexual hormone. And the third one, white or gray biotechnology. It's also called industrial biotechnology, working in the field of industry such as food industry, beverage, renewable energy, and various other invention in this area of industry. And the fourth one is red biotechnology. It's covered field area of health or medical sector and also therapeutics, which play an important role in increasing quality of healthcare. Okay. Previously, nanotechnology were work separated from biotechnology, mostly in the area of material physics and metallurgical research. There is a gap. There is a gap between nanotechnology and biotechnology. The research is intended to find a bridge between nanotechnology and biotechnology. This condition is changed now. There is a shift in nanotechnology which started to touch organic and organism things toward more complex application in metabolic or organism, such as the use of nanoparticles in drug delivery system, nanocarbon tubing as tunneling system in cell membrane, and so on. This lead to convergence nanotechnology and biotechnology. As you see in the picture below, there is a shift between divided area of nanotechnology and biotechnology to integrated of these two technology. Nanotechnology plays a lot of parts right now here in the above picture. Also nanotechnology in medical. It's work right now. Biotechnology actually is an interdisciplinary, which means several disciplines works together, having integration of different knowledge and method. Meanwhile, the sense of human or different core of knowledge is added to the research. Then it will become transdisciplinary. Here. For example, computer and internet is greatly influenced by biology and neuroscience. In other hand, computer itself is merging with energy engineering industry to create great automobiles. So automobiles is not just physics and computer, but also sense of human. The idea is one discipline or its fragment is specialization require any other discipline to support in order to grow bigger. Transdisciplinary biotechnology makes a new step toward convergence or discipline, which lead to a new normal condition when one discipline is interconnected to other discipline. On this slide, we can see the search of publication about biotechnology from 20 categories of journal. It resulted in several topics which are mentioned often. Yeah, some of them are microbiology, molecular biology, food science and technology, chemistry, environment science, pharmacology, nanoscience and nanotechnology, energy fields, and also parts of social science like management. From this hierarchy chart, we could see microbiology is still playing most. Yeah, microbiology is still playing most in this research. Okay. Deep in the search of all of the title and abstract of the corresponding to more than 200,000 publication, and analysis of words used is visualized of how the words associate with other and clustered in 4 regions. Here we have a picture of word analysis in the publication titles and abstract. There is 4 regions here that can be divided, which are device. I have brought down here. Device, bioprocessing, omics, and therapeutics. Each of them is powered by several specific activities. In the cluster of device, there is activities in the field of biomaterials, micro and nanotechnology in biology, biomedical engineering, image detection, biosensors, and robotics. So we have biotechnology plays important role in physics, in exception device as robotics and biosensor. This cluster encompasses all of the non-living technology. So it's work in non-living technology that may be applied to study biological system. This is a support to study biological system. In the cluster of bioprocessing, that's appear activities such as bioproduction, metabolic engineering, biofuel, enzymology, and environmental biotechnology, which include bioremediation. The use of reactors as bioreactor, reactor that used in the biology system is called bioreactors, to perform chemical transformation is influenced by chemical engineering works. Mostly biotechnology here in the bioprocessing aspects is most in chemical engineering field. So biotechnology works not only in biology or chemical, but also in engineering aspects such as chemical engineering. Okay, and the third one, the terms of omics here derive from a field of study in biological science that ends with omics, such as genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, and metabolomics. The omics is continued with culture, single cell technology, with result in single cell production, SCP, genome editing, and genetically modified organism, GMO. This cluster might contain the very trendiest. This is the very trendiest in biotechnology covers. And in the cluster of therapeutics, biotechnology was more focused on health, medical, and pharmacy application, such as drug delivery, gene therapy, stem cell, drug discovery and development, antibodies, and even nanomedicine. Every step in the development of this transdisciplinary science might change the way how we live. That include dreams of biotechnology researcher in what will human eat, such as cultured meat. This is new. Singapore is leading about that cultured meat that cultured in the lab, not to kill the animal, but it's cultured in the lab. Produced in bioreactor without the slaughter of an animal. And what will human use right now, such as wearable laboratories? It designed in electronic chips design, connected to biodigital system, and implanted to human body. So the system will determine the health of that human. And also there is a biohacking. This is a quite new terminology is biohacking. How to hack the biology system. This progress of time will lead us to a new normal life. This is a dream that will happen in the future. Thank you so much for the time for me to present this article. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ruben. So thank you for sharing new insights on biotechnology. Thank you also for reminding us that science is an interdisciplinary field wherein we really need to collaborate with each other. So moving on, our next speaker, he is the Dean of the College of Science and Technology since 2002. He obtained his PhD in mathematics at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Aside from his work as a dean, he also teaches mathematics and statistics in both undergraduate and graduate levels. It is his advocate to create an environment where research culture is developed and enhanced. Let us now give our time to Dr. Edwin A. Balila.
Hello and good morning, everyone. I have entitled my talk today, Structural Equation Modeling Matters in the New Normal. To begin with, I would like to cite a theory which was proposed by Kelman in 1958. This is called social influence theory. Social influence theory is saying that an individual's attitude, belief, and subsequent actions or behaviors are influenced by other individuals whom we have associated with through three processes: compliance, identification, and internalization. Social influence theory contribute a lot to what we are as a person or as an individual. And we all know that a society is composed of individuals interacting each other. Undeniably, we are living in this very complex world where variables such as personalities, academic background, cultural background, economic status in life, genetic background, medical, history, you name it, are interacting each other. People living in different walks of life. The first question is, how are you able to model the situation? In other words, what statistics are we gonna use to model the situation? The answer to that question, you need a second generation multivariate statistics. This is the structural equation modeling. Now, let's look at the first generation multivariate statistics first. First generation of statistics, like regression models such as linear regression, logit, ANOVA, and MANOVA, can only analyze one layer of linkages between independent and dependent variables at a time. And these techniques need to run the analysis many times with different combinations to arrive at a valid model. Now, the paradigm above is an example of the first generation of statistics. Now, yes, it is the model of the first generation because you can just run regression analysis with several independent variables on the dependent variable called competency level. But if you look at the second paradigm here, you cannot just do the first generation of statistics because when you do regression analysis, you have to do it 3 times. But when you do it, you are treating others as constant. In reality, they are not constant. Other than that, there are 3 regression you are going to make individually and 1 maybe regression analysis with one with a moderation with a moderator in it. So 3 regression analysis and 1 regression including the moderator consciousness. But if you are going to use structural equation modeling, then you can just run it in one time. The modern research calls for examination of interactions of many independent variables and the dependent variables, whose influence is either direct or indirect. Hence, you need the second generation multivariate statistics. Now, here is the second generation of multivariate statistics called structural equation modeling. So it is actually defined as collection. Take note on that. It's a collection of statistical analysis done simultaneously. A combination of factor analysis, regression analysis, path analysis, and path analysis with latent variables. So it's a combination of the first generation of multivariate statistics, and particularly useful for examining direct and indirect effects. Now, here is the second question. Does structural equation modeling matter in the new normal? Of course, the answer is affirmative. Here are several studies during the new normal using structural equation modeling. Now, look at this. So, here's an article authored by Yasser and his companion in 2020. Modeling impact of word of mouth and e-government on online social presence during COVID-19 outbreak, a multi-mediation approach. Now, look, if you look at the paradigm, two independent variables with two mediators and one dependent variable. And in one time, you are able to answer how many hypotheses? 9 hypotheses just in one time. In one run, you are able to answer the 9 hypotheses. Whether it denies the hypothesis or it affirms the hypothesis, it will be seen here. So this one, this is now the output. So you have to run it one time and they're interacting each other. The second one is effect of misinformation of COVID-19, individual responses and recommendation for resilience of disastrous consequences of misinformation. So in here, in this paradigm, you have 4 hypotheses. So, and then when you run it using structural equation modeling, in particular using smart PLS application. Now, it will, whether the hypothesis will deny or affirm, it depends on the result of structural equation modeling. Now, we also have here the mediating effect of parental stress on harsh parenting and parenting-child relationship during coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic in Singapore. Now, you will see here in the hypothesized model whether COVID-19 has a positive effect on parenting stress. The impact of COVID-19 has a positive effect on parental stress, and whether parental stress is positively affecting harsh parenting, and so on and so forth. Now, look at the result. It confirms the result. And this is by the aid of structural equation modeling. So in structural equation modeling, actually, there are 2 approaches. One approach is covariance based, and the other one is variance based approach. Now, it depends on your objective in your studies. If your study calls for covariance structure analysis, then you are going to use this software application. We have AMOS and so on and so forth. Now, if your study calls for variance-based or component-based or partial least square, then you may be using Smart PLS, PLS graph, and so on and so forth. Now, SEM enables confirmation of factor structures among a set of variables. It can also accommodate moderators or interaction terms within the model. Within the constraints of sample size, SEM can also model mediators. In the absence of missing data, you can also bootstrap the procedures can also be performed. Thank you very much. I hope that I have convinced you that structural equation modeling matters in the new normal.
Thank you so much, Dr. Balila. Thank you for letting us understand that structural modeling really matters in the new normal. Our third speaker is Dr. Elvin M. Walemba. He is the Dean of the Faculty of Science in AIU since 2018. In 2019, he obtained his PhD in biology at the Loma Linda University in USA. His research interest includes nanotechnology in medicine, infection control, and antibiotic development. His recent work is in the synthesis, characterization, and application of biocompatible metallic nanoparticles for the treatment of pathogenic microbes of the human oral cavity. So let us now give the time to Dr. Elvin Walemba. Doctor, I think your mic is currently muted.
Okay, let me share my screen. I hope everyone can see the screen.
We can clearly see it, sir.
Okay, I will be speaking very briefly about the co-current pandemic of alternative facts. One of the biggest problems that we have had over the last 2 years is that there are many conspiracy theories, and then there have also been some sprinklings of truth which have been enclosed with a lot of false news, declarations, and beliefs by very many people. And that is why I've chosen the topic of battling alternative facts, especially because we are here as a group of academicians, especially in the sciences. This slide here shows a couple of headlines, both in news websites, but also in scientific articles. The first one looks at COVID-19, the dual threat of a virus and a fake news epidemic. And the second one down here shows, the title reads, The Pandemic of Disinformation in COVID-19. And so I want to look first and foremost at what is a fact, so that we can understand why we have had problems with fake news. So I just went easily to Merriam-Webster Dictionary online, just to find out what the definition of fact is. So a fact is something that has actually occurred, it has happened, or a piece of information presented as having objective reality, or the quality of being actual. So that is what fact is, something that has happened, has been seen to happen, or is actual. So what are then alternative facts? So that statement itself, alternative fact, is a misnomer, because if it is not fact and therefore not true, suggesting that there's only one set of facts, you cannot have alternatives to it. Any alternative to the truth is a lie. So alternative facts itself is a misnomer. There can only be one set of facts. There is only one truth. Now, this isn't to say that science does not develop increased knowledge. That's not what I'm saying. But there is only one set of facts. Interpretation of those facts does not necessarily lead to different truths, because the truth is only what has occurred, even if we do not yet know everything that has occurred. Alternative facts are themselves fake news. I found a really interesting article which was published by a library, and it was summarized in this diagram here. How can we spot fake news? Now, this is really important, especially for us who are teachers. I have had many times students come and ask me, I've read this, but is it true? Or I've heard this, is it true? I saw this YouTube channel video. I'm not sure if it's true. And so this gives us a really interesting set of steps to actually check to see whether or not something is actually fake news. The first thing I always share with my students, especially in research methods or even in seminar, is what is the source? So if I go online and I go to the website, iloveredshoes.com, and I'm asking, or I'm trying to find out information about what is the best pharmaceutical to treat a certain skin disease. It doesn't really make sense for me to be reading from a blog of a person who writes about red shoes. That just does not make sense. So it's always important to consider the source. It's also important to check the author. Recently, one of my students asked me to check on a doctor or a person who called himself a physician, who was touting the use of a certain remedy for COVID. Now, there have been very many. I remember particularly the president of Madagascar and the country of Madagascar off the coast of Africa, where they had been touting a certain herbal concoction from some trees for the treatment of COVID. And while we support natural remedies all the time, we also support the use of science to actually test these remedies, to verify them. So we need to check who the author is. Who is the person who is saying this? Are they credible? Are they even real? We also want to check when this information was presented to us. What is the date? If we are looking at something published in maybe 2002, which is addressing the use of vaccines for the treatment of any SARS virus, this is problematic because most SARS viruses that we have been affected by have been post-2008. So it would be really difficult for those of us, especially in the scientific field, to accept that someone was studying vaccines to treat SARS viruses in 2002 and we did not know about it, especially those who are either microbiologists or virologists, published in 2002. This is a little bit fishy. A very important thing is checking our biases. Now, of course, we should be objective in everything. But the fact is, because of human nature, we have biases. We have biases because, for example, if it comes from China, you know, we have been cultured to believe that if it comes from China, it's going to be inferior. And yet, if you have an iPhone, it was made in China. If you like very high quality goods, very many of them were made in China. We have to check our biases. We need to also encourage people to read beyond, or what I call reading around. And any person who has done a literature review knows that you can find, almost always, you can find a published piece of information, a published article, which will support your opinion. Look hard enough, you will always find something that supports your opinion. What you need to do is to read around your opinion. You need to find other sources. Finding supporting sources is important, especially if they are credible sources that are relevant and up to date. Sometimes people put things out and they say, they read like they are real, and in actual fact, they are satire. A good example is following the American election, there were many people claiming the election was stolen. So many people were involved in this, especially some of the companies that provided the voting machines. And then just this week, the person who was saying this, one of the people, was sued, and the person's defense was, no reasonable person should have believed what I said, because what I was saying was actually a joke. You know, this is, it's unacceptable for things which are actually directly relating to people's lives. And of course, the last thing is to ask experts. If you know an expert, ask the experts. They are not out to lie to us, to cheat us, to try and lead us down a wrong path. And so there are 4 steps that you can use, suggested by the American Association of State Colleges and Universities. Also a very nice summary. And the first thing is use a trusted source. And I believe that in the communities in which we live, our universities and the people who work there are trusted sources. Secondly, try and always find the origin of the information. Where did this information come from? Because the generator, the originator of this information needs to be credible in the field in which they are generating this information. And by doing that, you are able to go to step 3, which is to find out the source, investigate the source, about credibility. How long have they been in this? How much experience do they have in this field? What can they tell us about this? When you have done that, you can go back, and if you start to find consistency, then you are probably on the right path. This is a good way to develop a habit of following what is actual from what is fake. So what can we do as scientists? Those of us who have the responsibility in the field of science. The first thing that I believe we should do is to share what we know. Many of us know actually quite a bit about, especially in this pandemic, what is happening, but we have not actually shared it, not even in our communities in which we are, even for us who are church members, especially in Adventist institutions, we haven't even shared it in our churches. And yet people who are in our churches would like to know this information. We need to be proactive in engaging in public discourse. We cannot let people who are spreading inaccuracies take the limelight, take the center stage. We as scientists must engage in public discourse. And finally, we must be consistent in sharing the knowledge that we have, acknowledging that science develops, and with it, our knowledge about things. So years ago, we did not use DNA or RNA vaccines, but most of the vaccines that are being used right now, for example, for COVID-19, are nucleic acid vaccines. We did not use that before. And had someone talked about using this before, it would have been really difficult to actually see how this was going to work. But science has developed to an extent that this is now possible. We should be consistent in following the science, but acknowledge that science develops, and with it, our understanding. I will finish with using an example of a really interesting YouTube video. It's very short. It's done by very trusted, acknowledged, experienced scientists. And it is trying to explain why COVID-19 vaccines should not be compared the way they are being in the public discourse. And so they listed these 7 vaccines: Pfizer, Moderna, Sputnik 5, Novavax, the Oxford, AstraZeneca vaccine, and Johnson & Johnson. And they started off by looking at the efficacy. So basically, there was a public trial in the population where they chose 2 groups, a control group and a sample group, a group in which they were actually providing the vaccine. They allowed these people to live normally, and then they came back to see how many in each group actually developed COVID-19. And this is where we get the efficacy rate. So technically, the efficacy rate is the proportion of the population which developed the disease. And that is what is listed here, from 95% in Pfizer to 66% in Johnson & Johnson. And then they go on to say that this is a good way to study. The problem is that these studies were not carried out in the same population. They were not carried out at the same time. And what we know is that at the beginning of the pandemic, we had one major variant. In the middle of the pandemic, we had about 3, and towards the end, we have now more than 8. Now, these studies were done at different times, which means, for example, if we look at the Johnson & Johnson pandemic, which was done later, there were more variants, but it still showed a high efficacy for the original variant and plus many other variants, because what was studied was how people developed COVID-19 symptoms or were hospitalized, and not specifically looking at one variant. So in actual fact, it could be possible that Johnson & Johnson is more efficacious because it is dealing with all variants which are present in the population versus the first studies which were looking at only one variant. Secondly, these studies are publishing efficacy. And efficacy hasn't been properly described because the number one goal of any of these vaccinations is to prevent people from being hospitalized and prevent them from dying. If a person gets some symptoms and they are unwell for a short time, similar to a regular or seasonal flu, which is manageable, then COVID-19 has actually been controlled because we have lived for many years with seasonal flu. And every single vaccine that has been developed so far at a 100% efficacy prevents death and hospitalization. Therefore, if that is the goal of the vaccination program, every vaccine works. Therefore, it is not factual that these vaccines are inefficient. It is not factual that the efficacy rate makes one better than the other, because the primary goal is to prevent death and or hospitalization for serious life-threatening illnesses. I want to finish by saying that we have the knowledge and we have the responsibility. Let us do our part in trying to reduce or completely remove this prevalence of alternative facts in our communities. Thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions, which will be left with our moderators.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Walemba, for that very insightful lecture. At this point, we will be having our fourth speaker. So our fourth speaker is Engineer Amelia Tanasale. She is the Dean of the College of Dean of the Agriculture Faculty at Unklab. She is a seasoned professor with more than 26 years of expertise in her field. After finishing her master's in statistics at Bogor Agriculture Institute on 2006, she then became a statistician in Unklab since. Today, she will be talking about a very interesting topic with the title Organic Farming, Good or Just a Scam? Let us all listen attentively to Engineer Amelia Tanasale.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I want to share my slide. Okay. This morning, I want to talk about organic farming, good or just a scam. The COVID-19 pandemic has made people aware of the importance of food safety, one of which is by consuming organic products. Organic food production is one of the faster growing sector with an increase of approximately 250% in 10 years. Without organic market growth rates are different across country, it is clear that organic food is becoming a significant sector in the food production chain. What is organic farming? There is no universally accepted definition of organic farming. Organic farming can be defined by the proactive ecological management strategy that maintain and enhance soil fertility, prevent soil erosion, promote and enhance biological diversity, and minimize risks to human and animal health and natural resources. There are two factors determining the chemical composition of the obtained organic compounds: fertilization and plant protection. The fertilization is based on organic fertilizer, mainly manure and compost, and legume crops in rotation to enhance soil and level. Plant protection is based on the preventative of non-chemical crop protection method. Example, the use of crop rotation, more diversity agriculture landscape, more resistance variety, mechanical and flame weeding, and biological disease and pest control product. We'll see the difference between organic and conventional crop. How about comparison of the content of harmful substance in the organic and conventional crop? Nitrate and nitrate. Source of nitrate and nitrate in raw material and plant product are nitrogen fertilizer used in agriculture production. The concentration of nitrogen compound proved to be significantly lower in plant from organic farming than from the conventional one. The concentrate of total nitrogen by 10% lower, nitrate by 30%, and nitrate by 87% in organic crop. How about pesticide? Health effect depend on the dose that has been taken by the body. However, it is known that pesticide, even at a very low dose, can cause diseases such as cancer. Recent studies show that the probability of the detection of the pesticide residue was 4 times higher in conventional crops than in organic. How about heavy metals like cadmium, lead, arsenic, mercury, and zinc? Test results show that more cadmium had been found in the raw conventional material than organic, but sometimes it was the other way around. Other heavy metal like lead, arsenic, and mercury concentration, no significant difference between conventional and organic raw material have been found. How about nutrition composition? Vitamin C. We know that fruit and vegetables are a very rich source of vitamin C, which belongs to the antioxidant compound. In one of the recently publishing, it was found that the organic crop contains on average 6% more vitamin C in relation to the conventional crop, and it has significant difference. How about secondary metabolites? Secondary plant metabolites are compounds with a high antioxidant activity and with a wide range of health-related properties such as phenolic acid, flavonoid, and terpenoids. Organic crop had significant higher antioxidant than conventional crop, including 19% higher level of phenolic acid, 69% higher level of flavonoids, 28% higher level of stilbenes, 26% higher level of flavones, 50% higher level of flavonols, and 51% higher level of anthocyanin. How about mineral compound? Organic crops contain a higher level of trace elements such as iron, magnesium, and phosphorus than conventional products. Organic fruit and vegetable contain on average 5.5% more minerals, primarily boron, copper, magnesium, molybdenum, potassium, phosphorus, selenium, sodium, and zinc than conventional crop. Organic farming and environment. Conventional and organic farming methods have different consequences for the environment and people. Conventional agriculture causes increased greenhouse gas emission, soil erosion, water pollution, and threaten human health. Organic farming has a smaller carbon footprint, conserve and build soil health, replenish natural ecosystem for cleaning water and air without toxin, pesticide, and residue. If you look at the difference between organic farming and conventional farming, organic farming is the sure winner in the debate or organic farming versus conventional farming. Now back to our topic. If I ask, is organic farming good or just a scam? I can answer, organic farming is good. And how about you? Yeah, there are some difference between conventional and organic farming, but there isn't necessarily a right and a wrong way to farm. It all comes down to what is best for its individual, farmer and their land. Is conventional farming no good? Often some people think that conventional agriculture products are bad, so they only want to consume organic product. What about the nutrition content and pesticide residue in conventional crop? Conventional agriculture production is also healthy, has a high nutrition content. We can reduce pesticide contamination by washing thoroughly before consumption, and conventional agriculture also use pesticide at predetermined limit. So, if you can consume organic product yet, don't feel anxious. This anxiety will only steal your health. I want to say for you, eat agricultural product organic or inorganic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc Amelia, for that very timely lecture. I was very interested with your topic because during the pandemic, one of the hobby that got popularized was gardening. So I hope everyone have learned a lot and will till their garden after this webinar. So before we have our next speaker, we will be hearing a special number to be rendered by Ambience International.
In the streets of every village, every city, soaring tower, empty people live in darkness, every minute, every hour. From the cry of desperation, from a billion broken hearts, with a need so great, where do we even start? Let it start with me. Open up my eyes, fill my heart with your compassion, free my mind from all distractions, use my hands to set the captives free, use my feet to follow after you, Lord, change the world, but let it start with me. minute, every hour, from the cry of desperation, from a billion broken hearts, with a need so great, where do we even start? Let it start with me. Open up my eyes, fill my heart with your compassion, free my mind from all distractions, use my hands to set the captives free, use my feet to follow after you. Lord, change the world, but let it start with me. Take my life, all that I have called my own. Everything I am is yours alone. Let it start with me. Open up my eyes, fill my heart with your compassion, free my mind from all distractions, use my hands to set the captives free, use my feet to follow after you. Lord, change the world, but let it start with me. Start with me. Start with me. Let it start with me.
Okay. Our next speaker is Dr. Orlex B. Iliano. He is the department chair of the biology department in Adventist University of the Philippines in Silang, Cavite. He finished his PhD in molecular biology and biotechnology at the University of Philippines, Los Baños. He did postgraduate research in Japan under the Japan Society for Promotion of Science, or JSPS. Currently, he is a board member of the Philippine Society of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. He is affiliated with national and international scientific societies, one of the editorial boards of a scientific journal, and publishes papers and serves as a reviewer of SCO PUS index journals. Above all, he has the passion for teaching, mentoring, and research. Let us now give our time to our fifth speaker, Dr. Orlex B. Iliano.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Ma'am Merbs, for the kind introduction. Now I will share my screen. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. The title of my talk is Science for the People. So it's something like kind of a practical side from the scratch pad, from the benchmark, benches, from theory to process, then maybe product and adaptation of the community or the people. The outline of my talk, first I will have a brief rationale, followed by the Distinguished Woman of Science, because this month is the Women's Month. So I would like to give an honor to one of the women of science in the Philippines. Then I will also tackle a selected researchers that will provide promising solutions to global, regional, and national and local concerns. And last would be the call to action. Last year was indeed a challenging year to us, specifically here in our area, because of the eruption of the Taal volcano. We know that it impacted a lot of people, and based on their study, there are around 400,000 people have been affected, their livelihoods, as well as their health, industry, profession, and a lot more. But thanks to the information from the science, they given us valid information so that we could act immediately according to their advices. it didn't stop there. It was followed by the pandemic that we all know, and it affected not only the health sector, but also the political, economic, the social, and each one of us, even the schools, no, were closed because of this pandemic. And we cannot ignore the magnitude of its effect. Because of this, we are thinking what the Bible, as well as the pen of inspiration, write about science. I would like to emphasize this one from the book of Ellen G. White, Christian Education, and I would like to read. The schools established among us are matters of great responsibility, for important interests are involved. In a special manner, our schools are a spectacle unto angels and to men. A knowledge of science of all kinds is power, and it is in the purpose of God that advanced science shall be taught to our schools as a preparation for the work that is to precede the closing scenes of Earth's history. I think I cannot overemphasize the role of science to the closing scenes of our existence. More so, she mentioned that in the study of sciences also, we are to obtain knowledge of the Creator. And there was an article published in Journal of Medical Hypotheses and Ideas, and the author mentioned that scientists should be motivated to feel the needs of the people and be in connection with policymakers at national and international levels. So to sum it up, we do science for God as well as for the people. This is Dr. Evelyn May Texon Mendoza, my advisor, and she devoted her life in studying crop biotechnology in the Philippines. She studied a lot of crops from rice, corn, banana, coconut, root crops, legumes, mango, mangosteen, from biochemistry to genetics to molecular biology and biotechnology. She also provide guidelines, policy guidelines for the Department of Science and Technology. So I would like to recognize Dr. Evelyn May Mendoza for her hard work. I remember in the lab, she always told us to be focused and be persistent and to be a hardworking individual. Now, I would like to proceed to the global concern that we're facing right now. This slide was taken from Johns Hopkins University in Medicine. Yesterday, the total global cases of pandemic, infection, is around 124 million, and it's increasing up to now. And we are affected in one way or another. During the early part of the infection, clinicians are just describing what happens to the individuals, to the healthy, to the infected one with moderate symptoms, as well to the severe uh, patients. They don't know yet the structure of the virus. And in January 12, 2020, the Chinese scientists shared their sequence of the genome of COVID-19. It's around 29,000 bases. And also they already taken the photomicrograph of the coronavirus. With the publication of that sequence in the public, they already determined the genome structure of the virus. And we could see here at the bottom, the different genes that are involved, the S, the M, the E, the ORFs here. And we know that the diagnosis that we have, as well as the determination of the presence of the virus depends on this information. With that, they already determined the three-dimensional structures of the spike protein, which is the target of the many of the vaccines, as well as the other genes that code for the M, the HE, the envelope, and the E protein. And we know, knowing this information, they could determine, or they could have the primers so that it could detect the presence of COVID-19. Because of that, there are now available vaccines that are mRNA-based, as well as those vaccines based on the adenovirus vector. The determination or the invention of Frederick Sanger of the nucleic acid sequencing machine or equipment in the 1970s led the researchers to use this equipment to determine the sequence of the COVID-19, and now we're using that to determine the variants of this COVID-19. We know the D614 variant in China, and this is a structure, and the United Kingdom variant with some mutation in the S or spike protein. Then the South Africa, the B1.351, that has mutation on this part, the S, the E, and the N part of the genome. Then the Brazil type, the P.1, has also a lot of mutations in this part. The Philippines has recorded a lot of mutations too, but the prominent was the P.3, first discovered in the central part of the Philippines, that resembles that of the Brazil type of variants. So we cannot ignore the role of sequencing in determining these variants. And of course, these variants will determine the approach, the policies, as well as the quarantine restrictions to the people. Then, of course, let's proceed to the regional concern. I just selected one or two. We know the experience in Indonesia, the Aceh, Banda Aceh tsunami, and it lost a lot of lives there. And because of that, there was some fora on Asian biodiversity characteristics and conservation and sustainable use, and I'm privileged to be part of that. And Dr. Tadashi Kajita, one of our mentors from Chiba University and Ryukyu University, invited us to be part of the Asian Mangrove Conservation Genetics Group. And these are some of the researchers coming from the ASEAN countries. We cannot emphasize the role of mangroves to each one of us, where we could get our livelihood, the coastal protection. Actually, in Banda Aceh, one of our researchers here, okay, they already rehabilitated the area by planting a lot of mangroves in the area. The water filtration capacity of mangroves, the resources that it could provide, as well as the regulation of our climate. We also published paper focusing on the genetic diversity and phylogeography of different mangrove species. This information will give us an insights as well as information on what type of mangroves must be replaced if ever there was a depletion of that mangrove due to catastrophic events. Another study is to determine whether those species are critically endangered or not. With that, we could prioritize what are the species that must be conserved. For the national and local concerns, a few decades ago, there was a problem, or there was a something to determine whether the country will adopt leaded or unleaded gasoline, because we know that lead could lead to a lot of damage to the children, as well as to the mothers, as well as all individuals. No? So part of that research during that time was to look for bioaccumulator plants in order to accumulate heavy metals to its tissues. Thereby, it will not be available to the environment as well as to the organisms, including humans. We also analyze those weed species that can bioaccumulate lead, no? Including of course, our faculty. Another question was, can we further utilize wastewater effluents to irrigate crops? So one of our studies was to determine whether the effluents from these factories, to be specific, it's electroplating effluent. We know that this effluent contains heavy metals, but the question is, can we still further use it? Because it's just usually, thrown out, no? So our study showed that we indeed can use the electroplating effluent because it has a lower toxicity or heavy metal load, and the organisms that we subjected with this electroplating effluent, they are growing well. On campus, some of our students studied the water quality, and they publish also their papers. Now, a quick reference on the water quality of AUP. Another research is on abaca. Abaca is just like this, a family of musa or banana. It's a priority crop of the Philippines. And we know that abaca is used in currency, not only in the Philippine currency, but also for the foreign currency. Now they are utilizing abaca fibers for mask, and they said it's 7 times better filtration than cloth mask. And another research is to use these abaca fibers as promising astronaut suit components. One of our studies is to determine the genetic diversity of abaca all over the country. And in this study, we determined that the abaca population in the country is indeed diverse as of the moment, where we could get a lot of parentals that have, let's say, a virus-resistant trait and good fiber quality. Genetic diversity is very important because a population that is diverse has the ability to adapt to changing environments. After doing this research, we must not forget that we have an extension, or we have a responsibility to help the community. So one of the extension works that we have done in that particular project on mangroves is the Mulanay municipality. We help them rehabilitate their mangrove area. These are my previous students who did the work, and they publish also their work on a reputable journal. Aside from extension, we have also to disseminate our research so that a lot of people could benefit from our research. Lastly, we have this call to action. We must renew our commitment to our creator, who is the author of science, educate, engage, and motivate young people in science, provide the public and policymakers scientific-based information, and of course, with that, they could establish science centers, technology startup hubs. We have also to enhance community extension, research collaborations, and networks. We must feel the needs of the people. And most importantly, we must do science to advance the gospel and for the glory of our Creator. So I would like to acknowledge these institutions. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iliano, for your lecture. Indeed, science is for the people. I would like to tell everyone that we are actually, we have 228 participants here in our Zoom meeting as of now. We have 3 viewers in YouTube and 11 viewers in Facebook Live. So if you have other schoolmates who want to watch our webinar right now, you can address them to the links to the Facebook and the YouTube Live. Our next speaker finished both his Bachelor of Science in Biology and Master in Public Health in AUP. He obtained his PhD in Human Physiology in Mahindol University in Thailand. His research interests includes modulation of cardiac autonomic regulation balance, deterrent fluctuation analysis of cardiac rhythm, and blood glucose regulation. He authored several peer-reviewed papers and is an active health advocate for his community. Let us now hear from our 6th speaker, Dr. Albert Utapay.
Well, good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Sawadee krap. Well, I'm pleased to be able to have this opportunity to share just general knowledge on the appreciation of the world on science. Let me share my screen. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. The title is Renewed Global Appreciation for Science. In the light of this pandemic, there was this result that's very enlightening. That is 92% of global respondents believe that science could help contain the global pandemic. People are turning to science now to solve their problems. This reveals another measure of trust in science, and there is this increase of trust in science and a renewed global appreciation. Now, 80% of the people look at science to solve critical issues, also not relating to health, but also to environmental and social justice. According to SOCI, SOCI is science index. In the first 3 years, there is this change that is a significant change where 28% of the people surveyed remain skeptical. This is a drop, a 7-point drop in skepticism in less than a year. Never in history of SOCI has there been such notable reversal in trends. And 82% agree that there are negative consequences to a world that does not value science. So there is this increased appreciation of, for science, especially during these last 2 years, in the last year of pandemic. And another research also showed that people have great expectations for science. About 3 in 4, about 75% people believe science can solve different global challenges. Like, for example, 75% believes that science will solve in terms of affordable, renewable energy, and then 74% energy supply, disease treatment, 75% of the people believe that science can help with that. And 73% of people believe that science can help with clean water and sanitation. 73% they believe that science can help in internet access. However, there is a much lower confidence in science in terms of solving problems with climate change, only 46%, hunger 45%, aging population 41%, and unemployment 33%. In Southeast Asia, like for example, Malaysia and Singapore, these two countries are very quick to adopt new age technologies, such as contract tracing apps, and then virtual health consultations. And this is getting popularity also in other nations, this virtual health consultation to maintain public health and safety. In Thailand, for example, Thailand aspires to be to become a developed country by 2035. They make innovative strides in the field of artificial intelligence, robotics, bioscience, aerospace, and other new pillars of what is frequently termed as the world's fourth industrial revolution. I visit this country very regularly to teach the PhD program. And they've been talking about this industrial 4.0 for more than 5 years ago. I mean, they've been talking about that. They're very serious. Thailand is very serious in developing science. What about the Philippines? The Philippines, on the other hand, is already moving toward establishment of its first smart city. Philippines is also doing well in science development. Indonesia. Well, Indonesia has been bookmarked as the regional technology hub, giving birth to disruptive technology based on startups such as Traveloka and Gojek. This Traveloka is travel company, and it also offers hotels, accommodations. It doesn't have any hotel building, and yet it manages hundreds of thousands of hotels around the world. And Gojek is also like that, but it is about motorcycle taxi. Now, it is known that Southeast Asia today is one of the fastest growing markets with the potential for more technological advancement. These are the countries that belong to ASEAN. And there will always be a demand for a qualified workforce for these growing markets for technological advancements. So, what is the answer to this? The answer to this is developing more popularity, more engagement in STEM related studies. STEM is abbreviation for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So it is believed that STEM can help produce skill-ready and qualified graduates equipped to enter the industry with fresh perspective and zeal for innovation. But what are the challenges now? What are the challenges? Well, as I mentioned earlier, that the pro-science sentiment is growing stronger today. Many people are pro-science, but too many people have been discouraged from pursuing science, especially the younger generation. Now, SOCIO again, Science Index reports that younger individuals, about 28% of them, are 3 times more likely to have been discouraged to pursue science as compared to baby boomers, 9%. So science is less popular among the younger generation. This is a challenge. People believe, they have stronger belief in science, and yet fewer people pursue science as their career, especially the younger generation. It is a matter of perception, actually, because there are some negative impressions that prevent students from pursuing career in STEM. Despite the presence of supportive system, despite of the current development and progress, what are these negative impressions that they have that deter them from involving in STEM pursuance? Lack of access, confidence, and the third one is gender and racial inequality. These are the things that hinder the young generations to pursue career in STEM. Now, governments are trying hard to support the STEM growth or science development. Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysian governments spend 20% of the state budgets on improving their education systems, especially in the implementation of STEM subjects in the curriculum. And yet what happened? Many Southeast Asia students still feel a disconnect between STEM subjects as taught in the classroom and its practicality in the real life. That's the problem. This is practically side of this STEM. Again, that is still a perception. For example, in 2018, only 44% students in Malaysia chose STEM subjects, and in Indonesia, only 33.1% of the students decided to pursue STEM fields in Indonesia, despite the big budget set aside by the government for the science development. Imagine, for the education itself in Indonesia, the government appropriates 20% of its state budget. That's a big amount. Now, what about Vietnam? Vietnam is also facing some challenges. The challenges are the scarcity of STEM books and other science materials, and lack of proper training and innovative thinking among the teachers. These are some of the challenges. So, friends, whether it's finding new sustainable solutions to solve critical global challenges, or encouraging more of the younger generation to pursue STEM studies, collaboration has been emphasized as an important factor among the governments, private businesses, academics, and non-NGOs. They believe that collaboration is imperative to drive scientific growth. Friends, the tides are changing for the better. So, as responsible citizens, responsible global citizens, it is our shared duty to ensure that science's moment becomes long-lasting as we can create a more sustainable future. Terima kasih banyak. Maraming salamat. Khop kun mak krap. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tapia, for reminding us how important science is. I know a lot of students who are joining us, well, whose joining us now in our webinar are part of the science community or enrolled in a science subject. We encourage everyone to learn more about science because it's very important. Without science, the pandemic that we're having right now won't be able to be solved. Okay, so it's good to know that even if it's hard, a lot of people find it very hard. Science really matters, especially in the new normal that we have right now. Okay, so the next speaker that we'll be having is Dr. Titenda Mushinji. He is a dynamic lecturer at the Asia Pacific International University, or AIU. He obtained his PhD in molecular genetics and cell biology in Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. His dissertation made use molecular genetics and cell biology techniques on Plasmodium falciparum, the causative agent of malaria. His lecture for today is entitled Genomics, What Does Your DNA Say About You? Let us now give our time to Dr. Mushunji.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anos Satindam Mushinji, and I'm a lecturer at AIU. And my topic for this one is going to be genomics and genomic surveillance. So essentially the role of genomics in genomic surveillance. Genomics, then, what is that? Well, it is a study of all genomes of organisms. It is a particular field of study which encompasses quite a different methods, recombinant DNA, DNA sequencing methods, as well as bioinformatics. And in this particular field, bioinformatics plays a really big role in the sense that bioinformaticians are the guys that they come along, they take all the small bits of DNA that you've sequenced, and then they actually bring those together to assemble it into the correct order, right? And then people that do functional genomics are then able to assign function to the different parts of the genome. In terms of history, 1977 was, I guess, the birthing point of genomics, and it was because of Dr. Sanger was the very first person to develop a DNA sequencing method. And then a few years later, the Human Genome Project was completed because of genomic sequencing methods. And then obviously, as technology improved, we were also able to design better sequencing technologies such that we were able to sequence large genomes in a very short space of time. And then as this technology became more and more common, more and more used, the price of sequencing dropped down. And then as of 2 years ago, now there's a group which claims that they can actually sequence the human genome in 26 hours, and this is at the speed of how this particular method has come to. In terms of applications, genomics actually can be used in a variety of applications. I'm just gonna focus on surveillance, but it is a technique which is used in agriculture, comparative genomics, and even diagnostics. So surveillance, why? So I'm actually going to talk about the role of genomics in surveillance of coronavirus, and why would you think is that important? Well, we know that viruses mutate, they've got very high mutation rates, right? So whenever a virus mutates, right, some of these mutations, they give the virus advantages over the other variants. So when you're surveying, right, you're just trying to keep up to track, with how the virus is mutating and what those mutations mean in terms of you being able to design better therapeutics against the particular virus or pathogen that you're looking at. So, like I said before, viruses mutate very, very fast, and the coronavirus is no exception. Apparently, it accumulates about 2 changes per month. And how do we know this? Well, there's been a lot of collaboration between different countries in the world. So each country, they survey or they sequence, the genome of the coronavirus, which is circulating in that particular population, and then they put that in this database, which is called the GIS8 SARS-CoV-2 sequence database. So far, as you can see over here, more than 300,000 CoV-2 genomes have been sequenced, and all of this information is in this database. So this then allows people to actually track and calculate, the mutation rates. Over here, these are some papers that I saw. This one was in Science, which talks about the US, rushing to fill void in viral sequencing. So the US was not doing a really good job of sequencing the strains, which were circulating. And actually, the USA was having a lot of problems actually with COVID. But then, okay, they realized that they realized the need, right, of sequencing, so that they were able to track the variants which were found in the USA. And this particular article in Nature just highlights, the role of genomic surveillance, in terms of keeping up to track, these variants which were circulating. Now, the very first variant, which kind of, caused a bit of concern was when the virus, mutated from a D614 to a G614. Actually, the G variant became the predominant virus which was circulating, especially like in places like Europe. And then this particular variant, it was known to be associated with potentially higher viral loads, but luckily it was not correlated with the disease severity. So I guess in a way, even though the virus became slightly more infectious, that did not correlate, to disease severity. So this particular mutation was big for the virus, but not so much for us, because in terms of causing disease, it did not change much. But then there are variants that are circulating now that are a cause for concern. So the first one would be the B.1.17 variant. This is also known as the UK variant. It was originally found in the UK. This particular variant is known to spread very fast, and it is associated, with an increased risk of death. Right, and as of now, at least it's now been found in more than 13 countries. So it is actually spreading at alarming rates. There's also the B.1.351 variant, which was found, initially in South Africa. Now, this one is interesting because a specific mutation that it has, right, on position 484. Apparently, this mutation might affect the potential of antibodies to neutralize, right, the virus. So this could be a bit of a problem. Actually, we know that, if you listen to the news, that some of the vaccines which are there currently, they are not able to, or should I say, they're not as effective against this particular variant, especially in South Africa. So this particular variants, they're a bit of a concern, in terms of public health, and in terms of us trying to combat this particular virus. There's also one which is also found in Brazil, with the same mutation as the one from the South Africa. So because we know this right now we know that, okay, we now need to go back to the drawing board, and we need to come up with better therapeutics or better vaccinations targeting these particular variants, right? So we all this genomes of coronavirus that are circulating, we can always keep track of how the virus is mutating, and we can always correlate those mutations to either disease severity or our need for better therapeutics. And the interesting thing is that most of these mutations actually happen in the binding domain of the virus. So this is the guy that actually latches onto our cells as the virus infects. So you can imagine that some of these mutations, they can allow the vaccine to latch on much stronger, and to be able to infect, with like a very few viral loads. So as the virus, keeps spreading, as we keep surveying, and sequencing the genomes, hopefully, we can come to a point where we are like a step ahead of the virus in terms of understanding how it's mutating. So I know this, this was very short, very fast, but I hope you guys appreciate the role of genomics in trying to keep track of the pathogens that are around us. This can be used for for bacteria as well, and it can be used for other pathogens as well. So with that, I just want to thank you for having listened to me, and also want to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity for me to share this particular topic with you guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Musunji, for discussing how important genomic is, okay, for solving a lot of problems, especially diseases. Okay, so the next speaker, before I introduce the next speaker, may I remind everyone that you can start sending your questions via chat. Okay, just the format is the name of the speaker, then your question after that. Okay, so you can just send it there. We will be choosing some questions that are posted, and we will be asking them to our speakers later. Okay, so our next speaker is She finished her Bachelor of Science in Agriculture at Unklab or Universitas Klabat University. Okay, okay. So she finished her Bachelor of Science in Unklab, Agriculture at Unklab in 2011. In 2018, she graduated from Samratulangi University in Manado with a degree Master of Science in Agriculture. At present, she is the head of Tissue Culture Laboratory in Unklab, and today she will be sharing to us her expertise from her presentation entitled Tissue Culture Solution for the COVID-19 Free Research. Let us now welcome our next lecturer, Ma'am Alfreda Maninggolang.
Thank you for the opportunity given to me. Good morning. Wait, my share screen. Oh. This. I can share screen. Please help me.
May we request our tech team to please allow our next lecturer.
Okay. No.
It's still not sharing, ma'am?
Share? Yes. No. I can't. I can share.
Okay.
I can share.
Okay.
She needs to be appointed as co-host, probably.
Yes. May I ask our tech team from Unklab to please allow our next lecturer to be a co-host so she can share her screen? And while we wait, may we remind again everyone? Okay. Just a second, ma'am. Maybe our tech team is already fixing it. Okay. As we wait for the technical problem to be fixed, may I remind again everyone to please answer our evaluation questions after the program. And you can also, again, you can start sending your questions. Okay, Ma'am Alfreda, can you now share? I think you are already granted as the co-host.
I cannot share. I cannot share screen.
Oh, okay.
Just option, one participant can share at a time. Multiple participants can share simultaneous and advanced sharing option. I'm choose.
Enrico, are you there? May we ask for help regarding the technical problem? Or if it's only possible, I think we can proceed, Mom, without the PowerPoint presentation. Can you try again, Mom? The share screen, share screen again. Okay. Sir Enrico, are you there? May we ask help? Okay, I think if you won't be shared, I think we can proceed, Ma'am Alfreda, even without sharing the PowerPoint presentation. We will just listen to your lecture, okay? But I think we can try one time more. Can you click the share screen again? It's still not working.
Yes, it can't be share screen. Ada penganas itu. Oh, iya. I can.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. The title this morning about tissue culture. So, wait. Okay. The title this morning about tissue culture solution for the COVID-19 free research. Why? First of all, I will explain what it is tissue culture. Tissue culture is a method of biological research in which fragments of tissue from an animal or plant are transferred to an artificial environment in which they can continue to survive and function. The tissue culture may consist of a single cell, population of cell, or a wall, or a part of an organ. Next, what is another name for tissue culture? Tissue culture is the growth of tissue of cell in an artificial medium separate from the parent organism. This technique is also called propagation. Who started tissue culture? The theoretical basic from plant tissue culture was proposed by Gottlieb Haberland in his Address to the German Academy of Science in 1902 on his experience on the culture of single cell. Let me explain that a little. Mr. Haberland was the first to experiment with tissue culture, namely using the mesophyll cell of Lamium purpureum plant, but his research failed because at the time he did not use growth regulator. At the time, the theory put forward, namely cell totipotency theory, that each cell has the potential to apply and to become the perfect plant. Of course, by using the apportment and environment. And then types of tissue culture. Callus culture, organ culture, single cell culture, suspension culture. Yes, okay. Suspension culture, anther culture, protoplast culture, pollen culture, somatic embryogenesis, sootip and meristem culture, and explant culture. Next, plant in vitro culture technique. The promise of plant in vitro technique in three major areas, namely micropropagation, somatic cell genetic, and generation of transgenic plant. Micropropagation in tissue culture or micropropagation is used to develop high quality colonial. The main advantages are attributed to the potential of rapid large scale propagation of new genotype, the use of amount of original germs spawns is as a genetic source for forming superior variety. Somatic cell contribution of in vitro methods to plant breeding, somatic cell genetic is most significant, mostly in terms of haploid production and somatic hybridization. Next, transgenic plant expression of mammalia gens and or other plants gen is become routine for several plant species. One of the successful approaches has been engineered for the resistance against insect, virus, and other pathogen, as well as herbicide. It will take in tissue culture, the generation of whole plant from plant cell that have been genetically modified. 2. The production of plant in sterile containers that allows them to be moved with regularly reduced chance of the transmitting disease, pests, and pathogen. The production of plant from seeds that other species have very low change of germinating and growing. Next, in a relatively short time and space, a large number of plantlet can be produced starting from this single egg plant. The production of exact copies of plants that produce particularly good flowers, fruit, or have others desirable traits to quickly produce mature plant, and then the production of multiples of plant in the absence of the seeds or necessary pollinator to produce seed. Why tissue culture solution for the COVID-19 free research? The work carried out in the tissue culture laboratory from preparation and acclimatization is all done by keeping the environment clean. Sterilization, sorry. Sterilization is very important to maintain aseptic environment during the in vitro culture of plant cell and tissue. Plant biotechnology has an important role to play in solving problems related to improvement of forests and fruit trees. In vitro techniques are being increasingly applied to supplement the conventional method of vegetative propagation and environment of plant. In vitro technique of micropropagation have the following distinct advantages over conventional method of vegetative propagation. Small space required, high multiplication rate, freedom from seasonal depending, controlled culture condition, freedom from microbes. Let's join us in doing some research in tissue culture. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Alfreda Maninggolang. Truly, we gained new insights from your presentation for us today. At this point, we will accommodate your questions. So we will be accommodating questions from our audience.
I already have here 3 questions. A lot of people are very interested regarding gardening, but I think you have a question prepared. So yours first. Okay. Then I'll read the other questions after that.
I actually have a question that is directed to Dr. Ruben, but this is not only limited to Dr. Ruben, and this is actually for all the deans of our respective universities. So here's my question. in this pandemic, so we are limited by distance, and we are also limited by technology. How can we practice collaboration during this new normal? So if we have, maybe we have students from different colleges, different universities, how can we collaborate with the other universities? Dr. Ruben?
Pardon, sorry. May I heard again? Sorry, MD Sarno. Could you please say it again?
Okay. How can we practice collaboration? How can we practice, how can our universities collaborate during this time of pandemic?
Okay. I think it is a good opportunity for us to do collaboration, especially in research. Yeah, you know, right now in the pandemic situation, we maybe only 20% or 30% that our labs is used, mostly by the teachers that living in the area of campus, you know, in UNAI, AUP, AIU, and Unklab, the teachers is stay around the campus. So it's possible to visit the labs. But the problem is for the students, since not, I mean, lots of students choose not to stay at the campus. So it's, you know.
Oh, my dear.
Yeah, because our research is mostly a collaboration between teachers and students. Yeah, but this is our opportunity since we have this forum. We can collaborate and make an international research. Yeah, by, for example, you to you, university to university. Yeah, it's a good challenge, yeah, from this question. We don't know how to make it right now, but maybe we can think and do something to do a collaboration in research. I don't know exactly how we can make, but we can think about that and we can make it happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ruben. I think our platform that we're using right now, this seminar, this is actually a stepping stone to the goal of collaborating with each other, okay, for research.
May we hear additional inputs from our other deans? I think from AIU first, Dr. Walemba. Would you like to add something on this? Because it's a very good opportunity for us to discuss this now.
There are three ways that I think that we could be able to actually foster some form of collaboration. The first is in the design and development of any research project by specifically assigning specific tasks or different tasks. For example, we have realized that AUP has a very strong statistical analysis department. So in helping us to design the methods which would allow us to have a strong statistical analysis, we could designate that this is what they will do. Also, it's become increasingly common, especially in the West, that even in the development of a research protocol, when listing the things that you are going to do, they are already divided. That we will use Professor Hatupeya for this because that is his specialty. We will use Dr. Orlix for this because that is his specialty. And they will do it where they are. And then when they have finished what they are supposed to do, then we will have a forum like this to actually go over it. Another thing is that we can use something which has been done already. It's been done for a very long time, which is use the postal system. Now, the postal system has been used for many years to move scientific material. It's not illegal, it just has to be properly registered. that I am sending this sample to this person to do the analysis. And we know, for example, that Unklab has a good lab. We will send them some samples to analyze for us. Once the analysis is done, they will send the results to us. It is not impossible. It is just that we need to leapfrog from conventional to modern research that we can actually continue to do. And of course, we have to remember the third thing is that the single most important element of any research is human capital. And if we draw on the expertise in the various fields that we have, even just this morning, realized are within our 4 universities, then collaborative research has already gone a further step than where it is right now.
Okay, thank you so much. How about Dr. Amelia? Do you have any inputs on the matter?
Okay, thank you. But I'm not a doctor.
An engineer.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I agree with Dr. Elvin. Yeah. We can combine research together. Maybe we are applied. Yeah, we are in applied science. We can make something, and we can give our plan maybe for from biology department for analyze them. I think it's okay to work together, make a research together.
Okay. This is very exciting. I'm excited with the future ahead of us. Okay, and of course, let's not forget the input of our own Dean of the College of Science and Technology in AUP, Sir Balila. Doc Balila, what can you say about this matter?
Hello, everyone. I don't have any other thoughts than those which are already mentioned by Engineer Amelia, Dr. Walimba, and Dr. Soituno. And, you know, I've been scanning as to what has COVID-19, what is the advantage of COVID-19? Because everybody says it's disadvantage. So this is the advantage that I have seen. Without this, to me personally, I would have not known about Zoom. So I am very much sure without this pandemic we could not have this webinar. So we can make use of this, really. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to our deans, very active deans. Now, a lot of people, I think there are 5 people who have sent questions via chat, but we will be just choosing 4 or 3 because most of the questions are related to plants. So basically, yeah, a lot of people are interested in planting and tissue culture. So we will ask the first question to Engineer Amelia. The first question is from Kizaya Arniani. Okay, she asks why organic products taste better than non-organic products. Why is it? She said that organic products are more tasty compared to non-organic. Why is it like that, Ma'am Amelia?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Keisha, for your answer. Why organic product tastes better than non-organic products? Some people say they can taste the difference between organic and non-organic food. Others said they found no difference. This assessment of taste is relative and subjective. But I can say that there is a difference in taste. Organic product tastes better, especially in papaya. There is significant difference between organic and non-organic product. And why organic product tastes better than non-organic product? However, higher level of antioxidant in organic product can actually improve its organoleptic effect. And this effect, the smell, taste, and even the sensational in our mouth, when we eat it, maybe this effect made it feel better. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Engineer. Another question, actually, another question is posted here. So a lot of people are very interested in organic farming. I think we can have a separate webinar for this in the future.
Okay. Okay, we're ready.
Okay, the next question is from, oh, I forgot to get the name of the person who sent this, but is organic agriculture the solution to our global food system challenges? And why does government not pay more attention to these farmers, especially the organic farmers? Oh, I think the question came from a Filipino.
Okay. Okay. I know that it's from Karisma Juni. Okay, Karisma Juni, it's your question. Okay. Is organic agriculture the solution to our global food? I can answer yes or no. Organic farming does produce a low product compared to conventional agriculture. Can organic product meet the need of the world population? Yes or no? If organic farming is carried out today, agricultural product will not be able to meet the need of the world's population. But it can be done gradually by reducing the doses of synthetic fertilizer gradually. After about 10 planting period, the soil will be able to provide sufficient nutrient for plant. Your next question, why does government not pay more attention to this farmer, especially organic farmer? Most farmers are not yet interested in organic product because of low production. And consumer in many countries not to buy organic product because it's very expensive. Okay, it's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Engineer Amelia, for your very lively answers for the questions. I would like to remind everybody that the link for the evaluation is already available in the Zoom chat. So you need to accomplish it so that it will be the basis for the certificates that will be given later.
Okay.
And another thing, after the program, please stay behind. But we will be having a short picture taking and a little bit of a forum after.
Okay, so let's continue with a couple of questions to Mom Alfreda. Okay, Mom Alfreda, the first question is, can the plants through the tissue culture process be transplanted in agricultural lands? The question came from Antamen Shindi. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the question. I can assure you that tissue culture plant can be transplanted. So in this tissue culture, there is one part called acclimatization. And then acclimatization aims to transferring infect plants resulting from tissue culture to land conventionally. However, the transfer activity was carried out slowly and by necessity as described above, that the advantages of the tissue culture is to get seeds that are free virus, bacteria, and pathogens, so that when transferred to the ground, it will grow without being attacked by this bacterial virus and pathogen. Okay, the answer that I can give to you, and I can hopeful it can be useful. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mom. Actually, I have hello. Can you hear me? I think my internet connection is a bit choppy.
Okay.
I have a personal question, Mom Alfreda. Hello.
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm not sure if I'm still connected, but filter is this. I have been collecting different kinds of plants since 2018, and but I was told by some collectors that plants produced by tissue culture are not as hardy as
Okay, I think Ma'am Merbs is having a technical problem. We will just address her question maybe privately. She can just message Ma'am Alfreda regarding the question. So it's already 12:19. So if we haven't if we haven't accommodated all the questions, we're actually so sorry. But we need to move on with the program. Okay, if you have questions to our speakers, please feel free to message them. Okay, please feel free to message them so that they can answer your questions specifically. They will be very happy to answer your questions to them. Okay, so this has been a very engaging Q&A for all of us. So once again, we are thankful to all our speakers. We had lots of takeaways from all of your lectures for today. So to give us the rapporteur, we have Dr. Joshua Tobing from UNAI.
Well, can you hear my voice?
We can hear you, sir, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I would like to appreciate the host of the 4 universities in hosting this first webinar. And also I would like to appreciate the participation of all the participants, not only from the 4 hosting universities, but also from the other universities. And I would like to thank you also for the initiative actually of AUP and UNAI in having this collaboration, and also the active participation of Unklab and AIU. And thank you for the 8 speakers that have presented their thought from their area of expertise, in technology by Dr. Ruben Switono, in analyzing structure from Dr. Edwin Balila, and then from Dr. Walemba, that we have to be very careful with alternative fact, okay? Because if it's an alternative, it is not a fact, okay? So we should always be very attentive to facts and reality, and especially with a lot of hoax news and information, okay? Sometimes things seems to be true, but it's not, yeah. And then also from Amelia Tanasale about this organic farming, we hope that we can use organic materials, which says it is healthier. If it tastes better, I really do not know, because well, it's the way how we really cook. But thank you. As you mentioned that organic papaya, okay, it's much better. Next time I'll visit Unklab. I would like to taste those organic papaya. Send my regards to your president. Okay, a friend of mine. And then from Dr. Olex, a good friend of mine. Okay, talking about science for people, and then how you presented some research works that you do, and that in doing research, one of the things that we have to share, we have to share to other people, and then we have to publish. And then from Dr. Hutapea, an appreciation to science, and especially in the form that we need to improve the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and that we all as teacher, as researcher, okay, that we have to share this with younger generation. Yeah, it is sometimes very sad to hear that 28%, yeah, as you mentioned, of this young generation, they are less in having attention toward science. Okay, and then to Dr. Tatemda Musunje, okay, talk about genes, yeah, and genomic of this tracking of coronavirus variants, and how we use this genomic information of to diagnostic for biofuel, agriculture, etc. And then from Ma'am Alfrida Maninggolang, yeah, on tissue culture, okay, on how we can use this tissue culture in the advantage of the present situation, as you mentioned, as you stress on the what you call it, the plans, and also I think on COVID-19. And yeah, it is the first webinar, and we are all excited. Yeah, we passed our time schedule of 2 hours. Okay, I hope that, yeah, as we move with the second, the third, the fourth, yeah, we will be more disciplined. Okay, we will be more disciplined. And thank you, okay, to the two what you call it, master ceremony, yeah, of this webinar. Okay, Maribeth Christine and MJ Sarno. Okay, for the lively way of conducting or running this webinar. Thank you for the groups, singing groups that have enlightened all the participants and all of us. And most of all, thank you to all the deans, okay, that have initiate and make this webinar into realization. Hopefully, okay, that in May, if I'm not mistaken, will be our second webinar, and we will have more participants, and the speakers will also be ready for the second webinar. Thank you very much. That will be my report for today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tobeng. At this point, I would like to present the certificate of appreciation for our speakers. Okay. So the certificate, let me read the citation. The certificate of appreciation, it's presented to the name of the speaker for the valuable insights shared with the participants of the first Science Talk webinar series with the theme, Why Science Matters in the New Normal, held on the 26th day of March 2021. Signed by Dr. Elvin Walemba, Dean, Faculty of Science, AIU, Dr. Ruben M. Suitono, Dean, Faculty of Science, UNAI, Dr. Edwin A. Balila, Dean, College of Science and Technology, AUP, and Engineer Amelia Tanasale, Dean, Faculty of Science, Unklab. So the certificates will be given or will be sent to your respective emails. Again, thank you so much. At this point, to close the program, we have let us now invite Pastor Dr. Nainggolang, the University President of UNAI.
To my dear President, AIU, AUP, Unklab, and dear in College and Faculty of Science, my brother, fellow professor, lecturer, student, and our guests. back to the year of 2013 when we did our first international scholar conference in the university level. We have been motivated to broader many possible collaboration between Adventist University in South Asia Pacific or SSD of Seventh-day Adventists. Today, we have done it one step forward through this Sign Talk series in especially field of science, natural and life science, which cover a lot of area field and include biology, chemistry, agriculture, pharmacy, mathematics, and so on. Anything from agriculture and neotechnology to biotechnology should give, clarify, and strong bond between us and our Creator. Science is a systematic through and thinking about how to explain, to explore, to build, and to organize element and organism in the universe. For this science, we could learn the one who created all, our Creator and Savior. Science should lead us to salvation of human. Reaching Industry 4.0 is our challenging situation for us to solve and to live. Moreover, this COVID-19 pandemic situation has changed dramatically our behavior and how we carry our life. Through this event, I hope we will learn new ideas from each other, which we could adopt to future improve our work in this area of science. These have been many interesting and useful presentation, and I believe many good lesson to learn in this Sign Talk. As the spirit from our Ministry of our Education in Republik Indonesia to develop Kampus Merdeka or Campus of Freedom, where students may take as much and credit from any other campus in Indonesia, even more around the global, it will give more impact and how they will think and behave in their future create in life. As last, I hope this Sign Talk could continue to give us creator advances. I wish that our spirit in the international scholar collaboration could benefit each of our university. So we could develop our university better and strengthening our collaboration toward joint teaching and searching and all. May God bless us and thank you. Pastor Bidi Nainggolan.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Maninggolang. At this point, we will close the program with a prayer with Mr. Max Sahetapi, faculty at Unklab.
You, sir. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you that you have led the Science and Technology seminar so that it can end well. Hopefully, the seminar materials will be useful for advancement in the fields of science and technology. May you bless the speakers and committee who have organized this program this day. Thank you, Lord, for hearing our prayer and forgiving our sins. We pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Okay, once again, I am MJ Sarno and my partner, Ma'am Merbet Pedro. In behalf of AUP, UNAI, AIU, and Unklab, we thank you all for gracing this seminar with your presence.
Yes, I hope, yeah, sorry. I hope
would really
first. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, my internet connection is lagging, but I'm back. I hope this will not be the first and the last time that our students will be attending the webinar, right, Sir MJ?
Yes, indeed, ma'am. I would like to remind everyone, in the evaluation form, there are only 30 people who answered the evaluation form. Please accomplish that because it will be the basis for the distribution of our certificates.
Yes, and may I remind the students from different science colleges or faculty of science in UNAI, Unklab, AUP, and AIU to please stay behind because we will have a very short forum getting to know each other. Okay, this is the start of collaboration not only of the faculty of the different university, but of course our students as well. So again, we would like to thank everyone for joining us. Also, we'd like to thank our resource speakers, okay, for imparting a very timely lectures, okay, for the new normal. Again, God bless and happy Sabbath in advance.
Happy Sabbath.
We will have our picture taking, Merbet.
Yes, sir, we will have our picture taking after this. So please